Hey everyone, welcome back to LightHearted. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Britton. Today we're talking about something that every single human being experiences, rejection. We're talking about things like getting turned down for a job, not making the cut for something that you worked really hard for, feeling excluded from a group, or even hearing no on something you really, really wanted.
Rejection is brutal. No matter how much we tell ourselves it's not personal, it feels personal. But the truth is, rejection is a part of life, and how we handle it determines how we move forward.
So today we are going deep into why rejection hurts so much, because it does. It totally hurts. How to reframe it, and then how to turn it into a tool for growth. Because rejection isn't the end, it's just a redirection.
If you've ever been rejected, and let's be real, who hasn't? This episode is for you. Let's get into it. All right, so let's start with why rejection hits us so hard. Because even if we logically know it's not the end of the world, it can really feel like it.
So true. Yeah, and as it turns out, there are actual scientific reasons for that. We love this. Studies show that rejection actually triggers the same areas of the brain as physical pain.
Wow.
Which is insane. So when we say rejection hurts, we mean it literally. It does hurt.
That makes so much sense. It's not just in our heads, it's our brains reacting as if we've been injured. So it sees rejection as a serious threat.
Yeah, and that's why we sometimes have those over-the-top reactions. I don't know if you've ever done that.
No.
Never.
Of course not.
Never. Like spiraling into self-doubt, over-analyzing what we did wrong, or feeling like we'll just never succeed. But rejection isn't about our worth. It's about fit, timing, and circumstances.
Exactly. And knowing why rejection stings so much is the first step in learning how to handle it better.
All right. So we know why rejection hurts in our bodies and in our brains. But let's talk about how we can reframe it, because rejection is not always a bad thing. I think it always feels like such a bad thing, though.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not always a bad thing. So think about some of the most successful people in the world. And this is a reminder I have to give myself pretty often. All right. So Oprah, I have stats here for you. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for TV. Oprah. All right. J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter, was rejected by 12 publishers. That's a lot. Michael Jordan, basketball extraordinaire, didn't make his high school basketball team. Imagine if they had just given up after their first rejection. We wouldn't have like three of like the most talented people. That's right. Crazy.
It's so weird to think of it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. I just wonder, I feel like those are three really popular stories. And I wonder how many other people that are really well known where it's like if they would have quit after their first one.
I'm sure tons.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't happen. You don't just get what you want on the first try every time.
No,
it's crazy.
I think we should talk about some ways to reframe rejection.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Okay, so the first one is it's not personal. Rejection usually isn't about you, it's about fit. If you weren't chosen, it doesn't mean you weren't good enough, just that it wasn't the right time, place, or opportunity.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced that in your life where I know we've talked about times, but where you were like, I really, really, really want this thing, and then it just didn't work out, and then looking back, you can be like, oh man, that just timing would have been awful, or that just wasn't for me. If not, that's okay.
I'm sure there's
we can cut it out.
I know. I'm sure there's a ton. I just trying to think of anything. This might be a little bit different than what you're thinking, but as a like 11 and 12-year-old girl, I wanted to foster so bad. And when I mean so bad, like it would make me physically sick how bad I wanted to do it. Like I just wanted my family to do it. And it just wasn't the right time. And I was like, why can't we do it now? Like, and everything was like, my parents were like, well, let's wait till we move to a different house. And then it was like, let's wait till after this. And both parents have to be on board, obviously. And just like, nothing was the right time. And then, like at this time, I didn't even know anyone in my personal life that was fostering. And then somehow like a bunch of my family started fostering and all these people in our church started fostering. And I'm like, why can't we do that. Like, I've been wanting to do this for years. And it just wasn't the right time. So finally, when I was 18, which is a long time.
That's a long time. From 11, that's
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah. Finally, when I was 18, we signed up and we started, and it was the right time. And so I'm just grateful that, like, we didn't do it sooner.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you feel like you just had access to more resources and everything because of the people around you?
Yeah.
Or like what made it the right time?
I think I also didn't have a full understanding at that young age fully of what it was. Like, I had an idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned a lot through the years before we started. And just, yeah, having people around us was super helpful.
I think that's really cool. And I love that you guys do that.
We wouldn't have ended up with the kids that we ended up with.
That's true. And
So-
they are like meant to be with you.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thanks for sharing that. I like
Yeah.
that a lot. Yeah. I think it's interesting too that it was like, that was half of your life at that point of just like begging for something and wanting something so badly. And then to be able to look back and say, oh man, that would have been tough as an 11-year-old.
Right? I don't think I would have liked it at all.
Yeah, like that probably wouldn't have been fun to like
No.
have babies screaming in your house. And
No.
yeah, that's not fun when you're 11.
No.
That's funny. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have anything like that?
You know, the only one that really comes to mind, actually, no, there are multiple that come to mind, but the one I'm willing to share right now is like, it took me a long time to get pregnant. We've already talked about that. But I think about the person that I was, like when I was like trying to get pregnant at first.
Yeah.
And I just don't think I would have been a very good mom. Like, I think I would have figured it out.
Right.
But like, I was thankful for the time that I had to heal as a human being. And I
Yeah.
think I'm a way better mom than I would have been. Yeah.
That's
Pretty sure.
very humble of you to
Pretty
admit
darn
that.
sure. Pretty darn sure.
No, that's cool. I think a lot of people wouldn't admit that.
Yeah.
To look at it from that positive perspective, I think is really cool.
I definitely had years of
Oh, I'm sure.
being negative and
Yeah.
being like, what the heck? Like, I would be the best. Like,
Right.
you know, but yeah, looking back at all of the stuff that I needed to learn and like all the things I needed to learn about myself as a human being,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I'm much more capable as a human being now. I think another way to reframe rejection is that rejection equals redirection. So it's not just like a big no. It's not a giant no in your face. It's like, maybe we look elsewhere. Maybe we wait a few years. Maybe there's some other opportunity that's waiting.
Right.
Right? So it's not a big no. It's just guiding you towards something better. There's something better out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hard in the moment, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're not going to be like in the moment of rejection and be like, there's something better out there for me.
No.
That's so hard.
Yeah. But it's so true, though.
It is.
But it is really hard.
Yeah. I think it would be easier if it was like, oh, well, I'll figure out why in like 2 weeks why that didn't work out.
Right.
But sometimes it's 10 years later, you're
Right.
like, oh man, I see it now. Yeah.
For sure. Okay, our next one is that rejection builds resilience. Every rejection makes you stronger. The more you face it, the easier it gets to bounce back.
Yeah. Have you heard of rejection therapy that people
No.
are doing?
No.
Oh my gosh. So it's like a real thing, rejection therapy. But there were people doing challenges on TikTok and stuff like that a while ago where they would challenge themselves every single day for 30 days to go get rejected in some way. But it was so interesting because like the more they asked for things, the more people were likely to say yes because they were just asking for weird stuff. So like they would go into like a donut shop and be like, can I get 50 dozen whatever the heck's like in 10 minutes? And they're like, I mean, no, but we could probably do this amount. Like they were willing to like give a little bit,
Yeah.
but it was because like the people asking were getting bolder and bolder because rejection didn't sting quite as much. Or like they were just getting used to like that physical pain of rejection.
Interesting.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. So like if rejection like just like drops you on the ground, like you are having a tough time with it, like maybe you need more rejection. You need more practice.
Yeah. I think I have a really hard time with rejection, and not just because I'm getting rejected at something I really want. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Because I am someone who can go like maybe this is for a reason. Like, even if it's hard in the moment, like, I try and really have a positive outlook on things.
Yeah, you do.
But for me, I think I really struggle, especially if it's like a public rejection and people know about it. Like, I get embarrassed really easy, and that makes me feel defeated, and I just don't want to try again.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. I think like one of my biggest fears is failing publicly.
yeah.
And that it's so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's one thing if it's like between you and the Lord, you know, and
Right.
you're like, I failed.
Right.
But like when it's between you and every single human being, you know,
Right.
you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Yeah,
just
that's
don't
scarier.
like being embarrassed at all.
No, that feels so scary.
Like, it'll make me want to crawl in bed for a month.
You're like, I'm done.
Can't do it
I
again.
quit.
Yeah.
It's like it's a bad feeling.
Yeah.
It's a not good feeling.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I think one that goes really well with building resilience is just helping you grow as a human being. So sometimes rejection really is a chance to improve in some way.
Yep.
So you can ask yourself, you know, what can I learn from this? I know, you know, people when they don't get jobs, like you can take the opportunity to send an email and be like, hey, is there a reason that you didn't hire me for this position? Right? Like,
Yeah.
like you can take it as an opportunity to learn something about yourself. And like, maybe you have a weird habit or something like that,
Right.
that like someone needs to bring attention to, and then
Yeah.
you won't be rejected as much. Yeah.
That's such a great list. And let's be real, some of those things that we really wanted and didn't get turned out to be a really big blessing.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we already talked a little bit about our personal experiences with rejection, but is there anything you can think of where rejection turned out to be a blessing and like you can really see it now?
Yeah, you know, some funny ones that I can think of are just times that, so I used to be like a theater choir kid, you know, and like I had auditioned for some roles for our local theater growing up and I just didn't get them.
Yeah.
I just like wasn't landing the roles. And so I think I was able to kind of figure out why I wasn't getting them. And that wasn't it wasn't a time where I like felt comfortable reaching out because I was like in middle school, high
Right.
school,
Yeah.
you know, but I was able to be like, oh man, I think the song I'm choosing to audition with isn't working for me, or like this thing's not working. So I was able to kind of take a few steps back
Yeah.
and self-analyze. And I think I got better at that process of being like, okay, but what am I doing
Yeah.
that could change things for me? And I think once I did that, like I did start like landing roles in high school, and you know, I didn't really do local theater anymore, but like I was getting what I wanted in my regular high school experience.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
No.
Like not a single one.
I honestly can't think of anything specific. I know that there are things. Like I already said the foster thing, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I think rejection can come up in such small ways too.
For sure.
Like where maybe they just roll off of us a little bit easier and
Yeah,
we don't focus on them, but
Think
it's
about
like
it too much.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
I was told no a lot as like as a child and growing up, right? Like we all experience rejection.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about what rejection is and how it's just going to come up in our lives. We've talked about how it shows up in our lives. Let's talk about how to handle it, especially in the moment, because I think that is so hard.
Yep.
And we don't want to, you know, be spiraling into self-doubt or burning bridges with people because our feelings are hurt.
Right.
So let's talk about how to handle it.
For sure. I think the first step, and we have mentioned this for a lot of different things, is just to let yourself feel it. I think it's important to acknowledge that it is okay to feel hurt, because rejection sucks and it's okay to not feel fine right away. So I think it's super important to give yourself space to process it.
I think that's so good, because I think kind of like the public embarrassment thing, it's like, how often do we just try to put on a brave face and like not feel it? To be like, that's what I wanted. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's like, this is the outcome I hoped for.
Right.
Right. Just to like save face. And yeah. So like let yourself feel it. That's such good advice all the time.
And just say it. Say what you're feeling. Because sometimes in those moments where I'm like, whether I'm feeling embarrassed and then I try and put on a brave face and someone's like, are you okay? And being like, yep. And then
Everything's
then
fine.
Then you're feeling resentment.
Yeah. So like
Just being like,
rejection
oh,
and resentment.
Right.
Great.
Which is just not a great combo. But to be able to be like, I'm feeling maybe a little embarrassed right now, or I'm feeling this. It's just going to help.
Yeah.
But it's not the easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it's going to probably benefit you more.
I agree. Yeah. I think because it's something that so many people can understand so well too, like taking a minute to be like, oh man, I'm just feeling really embarrassed, or I'm just feeling a little rejected right now. I just need a minute. Like, I think that's something that people will be like, got it. I told, yeah,
right.
Totally
like,
been
remind
there.
yourself that you're a human surrounded by humans that feel these same things.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like that one. Step 2, we've kind of touched on it a few times, but like, just don't take it personally. It's so hard. That is so much easier said than done. So just try to remember that rejection usually isn't about you. Even with like the job interview scenario that keeps coming up, it's not usually because they just hated you and wished you never walked into their office. It's because maybe they picked somebody who was better suited for the job. Maybe they just didn't think that, you know, like you guys would work well together, whatever it is. Like, it's not about you most of the time.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah, there's going to be moments and things that maybe are.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to
self-analyze.
Really, yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, our third one is to seek feedback if it's helpful. Sometimes rejection can be a learning opportunity. If it's appropriate, ask for constructive feedback.
I think constructive is the key word there.
Yeah.
I think like people could give you feedback all day long, but like you need something that you can actually work with.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
For
It's
sure.
like if you can ask for constructive feedback, I think that's really good.
Yeah, agreed.
That's awesome. All right. Step 4, arguably the hardest one, honestly, is to keep moving forward. That's a Walt Disney quote. Did you know that? Keep moving forward. Rejection isn't the end, even though sometimes it feels like it. It is not the end. Apply again, try again, keep going. Resilience is what separates those who succeed from those who quit. Like, remember we talked about like the famous people who if they gave up immediately, we would never have what we have today.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about how to handle rejection for ourselves. But what about when someone else is going through it?
I think that's harder.
Oh, for sure. So if one of your friends or a loved one is struggling with rejection, here's how you can support them. First one is to listen without fixing. Sometimes they just need to vent. You don't have to give advice, just listen.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. I feel like people give that advice to men a lot, where it's like, just listen to her and don't fix her problems. But I think as human beings, like we don't like seeing other people be in pain. And so it's so natural to be like, what about this? What, have you tried that? Can we do this?
Yeah.
Like,
or
I
just
think
trying
it's
to distract
for
them.
everyone. Yeah. Like every single human being needs to hear that.
Yeah.
So like, it's okay to just listen without fixing it.
Yeah, I think I've learned that, and through the fact that I wasn't good at giving advice. I think I mentioned that before, is I felt very like a terrible friend because I had Vanessa who would give me great advice through whatever I was struggling with, and then I wouldn't have things to say to her and I would just listen, and it just felt so like unhelpful. So I'm just like listening and crying with you. That doesn't feel like it's helpful, but it really truly is helpful to do that at times.
Yeah. Yeah, I think oftentimes like we already know what we have to do.
I agree.
And so just somebody sitting and being like, it's okay. Like, you're sad and that's okay.
Yep.
Like, you feel really rejected right now. I'm sorry.
Validating your feelings.
Yeah. Like, that does suck. I'm sorry you're feeling that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know how many times like I've gone into counseling knowing what I need to get out of it, whatever I'm going through or whatever. And then them saying it, and I'm like, yeah, well, I already knew that, but now I feel better about it because someone else, like...
Yeah, like someone heard you out.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot with a lot of different things.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Because we are, like, most people are problem solvers, I think.
Right, yeah.
So, like, if your friend is feeling rejected, like, it's likely they're not just sitting there stewing about it and, like, not doing anything about it. They probably have a plan formulated in their head. They're probably just feeling really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is valid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Feel sad.
Feel sad. It's okay. We cry all the time here. Okay. I think number 2 can happen when the time is appropriate. And that is just to remind them of their strengths. Okay. So help them remember their value and help them to remember that like that one rejection doesn't define them as a person.
For sure.
Like it doesn't mean they're a failure. It doesn't mean that they have just messed up everything, right? It just means like it's an opportunity for them to learn something, hopefully,
Right.
and
Yep.
to move forward in the best way that they can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. The third one is to help them reframe it. Encourage them to see rejection as a stepping stone, not a stop sign.
What do you usually see rejection as? Does it feel like a stepping stone to you, or does it feel like a stop sign?
A stop sign,
Yeah.
for sure.
How do you decide to go again?
I think for me, it's a time thing. Like, it just takes time to kind of wallow a little bit in whatever I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Because, again, like with rejection, a lot of times I get embarrassment too. So I just kind of have to sit in it for a minute, which is no fun.
Mm-mm.
But it takes a minute for me to like realize the value I have. Or maybe like, no, I didn't suck at that. I just wasn't good for this certain scenario. Or maybe, hey, maybe this isn't my strength and let's try for something else. But I think for me, the biggest thing is like just time, which is kind of sucky because you can't speed that up. You know what I mean? Like there's no like fast route to.
Yeah. It's processing. You just have to do it.
Just take your time and yeah.
I like that. Our last tip for this one is to check in again. Mm-hmm. Check in later. Support doesn't end after one little conversation, so make sure that you keep checking in on your friends.
Yep.
I think there's a popular quote now, and they're like, check in on your strong friends, right? So like that stays true all the time. Check in on all of your friends, even the ones that seem to be doing great all the time.
Yeah.
Even the ones that are struggling all the time. Like check in on your friends more than one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because life is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It goes up and down. And so, yeah, just because you see someone really happy doesn't necessarily mean that they are.
No.
And it doesn't necessarily, they may be that day, but it doesn't mean they're going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, checking in is important.
Yeah.
It makes me think about grief a lot. Like when someone loses someone and how everyone's there. And then after just a little bit, it's like we move on a lot faster than the person grieving. And it's like,
Yeah. Because like you don't have to sit with it, and the person does.
yeah.
And so I think the more like contact points you can have where it's like, hey, I'm still sitting in this with you.
Yeah.
Like I'm still here.
Just checking in.
Just
How are
making
you
sure
doing
you're
with
good.
this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Really important.
Yeah.
I think with a lot of things.
I think so too. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Because it's really easy to feel forgotten
Yeah.
if people aren't constantly
Yeah.
checking in.
Okay, so like let's take like you lose someone, you're grieving someone.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think is appropriate? I feel like this is a good conversation to have. So like how long do you think is appropriate to be like, okay, I'm checking in with this friend for the next 3 months?
I think, like, honestly, obviously there's going to be a lot of people and a lot of things happening within that first month, week.
Yeah.
Like
Lots of decisions to be
a lot
made.
of things going on, so checking in a lot. And then I think, like, honestly, like monthly for like a year,
Yeah.
and then a few times a year after that,
Yeah.
because like they're just going to be constantly going through it, so checking in is important.
Yeah. I think that's awesome advice.
I don't think it's good to constantly, like, every time I see you being like, how are you doing? Like, it's been 6 months since blah,
how
blah,
are
blah
you?
died, or it's been
Yeah.
a year and a half since, you know what I mean? Like, I think that could just bring them down when they're not, you know?
Yeah.
But just checking in every so often. And when
It's like, hey, I've been thinking about you.
right, and pay attention to how they're talking or what they're saying, because if they mention it in some way, shape, or form, just be like, yeah, and so how are you doing with that? You know, like, even if it's
I like that.
a very lighthearted thing that they're saying, like, oh, my grandma used to love making blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh, that's cool. But like, oh yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, I think it's important.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's good advice, because I think like for us it lasts a really long time because like we have memories and we have all of that, and for
Right.
other people it just flies by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's really awesome.
I agree.
Yeah. Rejection is so painful, but it's not the end of the road. It's just part of your journey. And if you're facing rejection right now, remember that every no that you hear is just getting you closer to the right yes. And I think that word is important, the right one. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're enjoying LightHearted, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps us reach more people who need a little bit more light in their lives. We would also love to hear from you. What, if you're feeling really vulnerable, what's one rejection that you have faced that led you to something better.
You can send us your stories on Instagram at LightHeartedPod. It'll also help you stay up to date on our episodes and any behind the scenes content. If you want to see us get ready to film these episodes, join us over on TikTok. Our account is at LightHeartedPod, or you can follow us on our own personal accounts. Those will all be linked below.
And things are really weird over on TikTok, so please join us. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Stay lighthearted. This podcast was recorded on Buzzsprout in West Virginia.